Uplistsikhe is one of those places that completely rewires how you see the world. As you approach the cave town, it almost seems unimpressive. Just a little red church on a cliff and some caves seen from the distance. It's not until you start the climb up that you realize you are walking over ancient roads, steps worn by thousands of people's feet, even drainage systems that were cut by hand straight into the rock. Built into the cliffs above the Kura River in central Georgia, this cave city has stood here for more than 3,000 years, long before Tbilisi, the country's capital, existed, and long before Christianity came to Georgia. When we arrived, the wind was strong, carrying dust and smells up from the valley below. The kids and I climbed over smooth rock steps that had been worn down by centuries of footsteps. There were several points where I just stood there for a while, trying to imagine what life might have been like when this was still a living, bustling city. The absolute enormity of the place makes it possible to picture throngs of people baking bread, worshipping and carrying out trade here. Archaeological evidence shows that Uplistsikhe dates back to the end of the 2nd millennium BC and was already in use during the early Iron Age. Over the centuries, it developed into a significant political, religious and commercial centre. At its height, the cave town housed thousands of inhabitants, and the rock-cut city contains homes, storage cellars, including for wine, communal halls and other carved enormous spaces. By Hellenistic times, the settlement may have housed around 5,000 people. Before Christianity reached Georgia, this was a pagan city dedicated to the sun and sky gods. Fires once burned at the hilltop temples as offerings, visible for miles away. But by the 6th century, everything had changed. The old sanctuaries were turned into churches, and Orthodox faith began to reshape the very city itself. At the highest point of the complex sits the red-roofed Orthodox Church of Domitian. It's a 9th century basilica built on the foundations of earlier pagan temples. Inside there are faint frescoes still clinging to the walls, and the faces of saints are barely visible. We have visited so many Orthodox monasteries and churches across Georgia, but Uplistsikhe is certainly different. The air here is dry and cold, and it's like walking through the skeleton of Georgian civilization itself. You can still sense the rhythm of people who once lived here. Traders shouting in the marketplace, monks chanting in the caves, and the echo of footsteps in stone corridors. Uplistsikhe has survived invasions, earthquakes, and yet it still stands. The walk up will test little kids and anyone with mobility issues, but it's so worthwhile exploring, and the road down the mountain is an adventure in itself. Each week I'll be sharing videos from holy Orthodox sites in Georgia. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for next week's episode.